What's going on, everybody? It's Rick from Gardening with Barchuckin. Ooh, look at the wormies. Today is going to be the 42nd feeding. Sandra over at Nana's Worms, she suggested about feeding kind of across the bin. I typically just feed right down the middle. So I'm doing kind of a little experiment to see, feeding side to side, kind of allowing the worms to travel back and forth through the bin. So let's go ahead and get into the feeding area. It was just pulp from a juicer. Nice amount of worms. I'm not seeing any pulp or food. I am seeing a bunch of little baby worms, so that's always a great sign. Still have, there's like one little piece of the watermelon rind. Nice. Go ahead and fluff the bin. Some worms hanging out around the edges and in the corner. Okay, so because I fed on the far side, now I'll feed on the closer side. I've just shredded up some brown paper bags, so I'll add that to the feeding zone first, and then a very colorful feeding. So I'll try to give a little bit of everything. I will go ahead and top them off with a little bit more of the shredded bedding. And now to the feeding area, I like to add a little bit of ground up eggshell. This is good for the worms. It provides a grit, so when they squirm around, they actually can help digest their food. They don't have teeth like you and I do. It's great for their digestion. It also helps to add a little bit of calcium to the castings and helps to buffer the pH. If things are getting a little too acidic, you can add some eggshells to help balance out the pH. Then on top of the feeding, what I like to do is add a little bit of worm chow. I have expired flour and cornmeal, so that gives the worms something that's available much sooner than the food scraps that I just put in. So the worms can actually eat the worm chow, and the microbes have helped to break down the food scraps. Then the worms can go after the food scraps. Okay, so I think I will take a peek underneath here. And there's a bunch of worms. So let me move this over, and then I'm just resting that actually on my the lid to this tower system. I just wanted to kind of see what's going on down here. You can see some castings have been dropping through. I see some worms down here. You can see this is a little bit drier. There's a couple dry spots right around the edges, but then there's kind of pockets of moisture. So I don't, if the worms come down here, I'm perfectly fine with it. I actually don't want them down in this section just yet. I want them to keep in that feeding zone, keep turning those castings, and then this tray will actually come up top, and the feeding tray will come to this point to be the pre-harvest tray, and then this will become the new feeding tray. Okay, well, great. Like I said, this is the 42nd feeding. I'm very pleased with the progression of this worm tower system. I just keep seeing more castings and more small worms and even more larger worms, which is a great thing. This bin was started with 350 red wigglers, and it's pretty neat to see your system when it's working well. The worms are enjoying it, and the worms are growing their population, which is always a good sign in a healthy worm bin. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I got to spend some time with family and visit with my brother and his family, so that was a great time. If you guys have any questions, don't forget to drop it down in the comments. Thanks for coming along, checking out the video. Everybody have a great day.